If you want to be a leader, you've got to be a great team player first. And even if you don't want to be a leader, why wouldn't you want to be known as a great member of the team? Hey leader, David Burke is here, organizational psychologist and author of 5 books on helping leaders and teams do their best work ever. Yes, 5 new book, Best Team Ever, The Surprising Science of High-Performing Teams, out now. Check out the link in the description for where you can grab a copy. Look, our world requires collaboration. Recent time use surveys suggest that up to 85% of your time at work, if you're in a knowledge work job and even in some industrial work jobs, is going to involve collaboration with members of your team, meaning the people that report to your supervisor, or members of project teams. But at the same time that collaboration becomes more important, collaboration can also be more difficult. Work requires greater levels of diversity, which means greater differences in personalities and preferences. And the more you need to collaborate, the more you need to collaborate with people who work differently than you. Still, getting what you want from work and what you want from your career requires being a great team player. And if you want to be a leader, you're gonna need to be a great team player first. So in this episode, we're gonna talk about the 5 elements of a great team player and outline some ways you can improve in each of those elements. So the first element of a great team players are capable. Yeah, I mean, this is like blocking and tackling. This is table stakes. You've got to be capable. You have to be capable in your job. That means that you have to have the requisite knowledge, skills, and abilities to meet the demands that the job and the team is asking of you. And if you got the job, I should assume that you're already capable, or at least that enough people on the team and the person who made you the job offer believe in your ability to get capable fast, to get trained and get to a level of competence fast. So capable here really means proving your capability to other people. It means that the team needs to know they can rely on you. The team needs to know when they ask you to do things or when you commit to doing things that you're going to do them and do them well. So the way you prove your capability is you keep your word. You deliver on the things you say you're going to do. Now, specifically here, what tends to happen in meetings, et cetera, where people start to believe that actually decently capable people on their team are actually incompetent or incapable. Most people are capable, but where feelings of incapability creep up is when people make assumptions about when you're going to deliver things or how you're going to do things, and then you do something differently. So what they were expecting ends up being different than what you delivered on. This happens most often when we're in meetings, we're developing a plan of action and deciding on kind of who does what, etc. We don't talk about enough details. We don't commit to specific deadlines or specific order of operations in which we're going to execute something. So the easiest way, assuming you're actually competent, the easiest way to prove to your teammates how capable and reliable and dependable you are is to add that extra information. When you commit to a task, commit to a deadline of when you can get it by them, right? If you have to ask when you need it by, that's fine too. When you commit to doing something, outline exactly how you're going to do it. And by the way, ask those questions of other people as well, because they need that same clarity from you. They need that clarity to you as well in order to do your work. Then deliver on that goal. And if you feel like you're not going to deliver on that goal, then you need to outline why you're not going to meet that original deadline. But that way, when the day comes and the deliverables in their email inbox or on their desk, etc., they're remembering you committed to do it by this date, you did it by that or before then. You are capable. Over time, you become more and more reliable, so you grow in their mind as a great team player because you grow in their mind as someone who is truly capable and only getting better. The second element of a great team player is that they're humble. And I know we just talked about capability. Now we're going to talk about humility. What do those have to do with each other? Humility doesn't necessarily mean that you think little of yourself. It means that you understand what you bring to the table and you understand that the rest of the team is more important than you. Humility means you're not fighting for dominance in the team. You're not fighting to always dominate the conversation and be proven as the most capable, but it doesn't mean that you feel like you're totally inadequate and you're always apologizing for work as well. Where humility tends to go awry on teams is honestly, a lot of times in discussions. Depending on your personality types and your work preferences, etc., you might be the type of person that accidentally dominates a conversation, or you might be the type of person that accidentally cuts people off. I'll be honest with you, this is something I struggled with very early on in my career. I get really excited about ideas I'm passionate about, and so I jump into the conversation probably more often than I should, and I cut other people off, well, way more often than I should, because even if I did it once, that's more often than I should have. So I had to learn, right, not to do it. But first, the way I learned not to do it was actually by catching myself in the moment. If I cut somebody off and I'm spouting off my ideas, I would try and sort of remind myself in that moment, you cut them off, and then I would make sure that when I'm done saying whatever I'm saying, I said, but you know what, I cut you off on that, I'm so sorry. Please finish your thought. And I would steer the whole room back to that person that I stole attention from anyway. Now, it didn't make me look like the most humble person in the world, but over time, I learned to do that less and less and less. I learned to talk later and later in the conversation. And as I grew into leadership roles, I've learned that speaking last is a great way not only to signal humility, but also let the whole team share their opinions and create that space where you can truly get a diversity of inputs. And it just so happens over time, it makes you look more humble because you are more humble. The third element of a great team player is that they're helpful. Yeah, you need to be capable in doing your work and doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. You need to be humble in knowing that you're not the most important person in the room and acting that way. But the best way to show that humility, in addition to making sure others feel important when they leave their interactions with you, is to volunteer to help on a regular basis. When you're in meetings with teams, when you're coordinating work and coordinating tasks, when people mention roadblocks or setbacks, if there is a way you can help, help. If there's a meeting you can sit in on and offer your perspectives or give feedback or even just take meeting minutes for the moment, if there's something you can do to help, offer that help. Now, some of the time people are going to take you up on it. So you do have to be careful not to over offer so that you are actually overcommitting and not getting your own work done and threatening element number one, capable. But many times when you offer to help, people say, no, that's not necessary, or that's not necessary right now. But you know what they do every time you offer to help? They remember that you are helpful because you're offering to help. Now, when they do accept your offer and you do help, not only do you get the benefit of being more helpful, you're gonna learn so much more about what happens on the team, what happens in the organization, and how you can create value. So you're going to be a beneficiary of help when you help as well. And that's the reason maybe we should have started off at the beginning and said that a great team player is helpful as number one. But here in the middle at number three, that's the reason it's so important. It's like the keystone of these elements. It's that important. Be helpful. The fourth element of a great team player is flexible. They're willing to adjust. They're willing to reorganize. Look, you're gonna have setbacks. You're going to have changes in the environment. You're gonna have new information totally change where the project has to go. You're gonna have teammates who need to pivot on what they say they're going to do. And so if you are inflexible, you are not gonna be a very great team player. If you are flexible, if you're willing to make those adjustments, if you're willing in the moment that changes happen to steer the conversation as a team into what the new priorities are and what changes need to be made as a result, in other words, facilitate the changes that are happening, you're sort of extra flexible and you're serving the team through that flexibility. And there's no point being inflexible. There's no reason to keep demanding to do tasks exactly how you said you're going to do them, even though things change, because all that's going to happen is you do your work and now it doesn't fit into the puzzle of collaboration that your team requires. So you're going to have to be flexible. You might as well be enthusiastic about it. You might as well be the one that can help facilitate those changes. You might as well be seen on your team as the one who's most flexible and most adaptable, and that way you can serve your team the most. And the fifth and final element of a great team player is purposeful. And purposeful here meaning really two things. The purposeful one meaning that the actions that you take, you do with purpose. You act deliberately in your interactions, etc. But really number two, and arguably the most important, is that are you that person on the team who is reminding the team that their work matters, that their work has purpose? Are you the one sharing the gratitude often when you hear it from clients or giving gratitude to other members of the team often? Are you the one reminding people this is how our work fits into the larger whole, and this is why the work that we do is so important? You know, it's the job of a leader to continuously remind people that their work is important, that their work has purpose, and to continue to inspire them. But it's also the job of great teammates. It's what great teammates sort of get known for, is bringing energy and passion and inspiration and motivation to the team. And you do that through being purposeful. If you need a crash course on how to be purposeful as a leader or as a teammate, here's the easiest, simplest way I could say you can bring more purpose to your team. Can you help the team answer the question, who is served by the work that we do? And if you have a clear-cut answer to that question, can you come up with ways to constantly remind members of the team, this is who we serve, this is how the work that we're doing is serving that person? And if you can do that, you're gonna be known on your team as the inspirational one, as the purposeful one, and you're gonna notice that your team is a little more inspired, a little more motivated, and performing a whole lot better. So great team players are capable but humble, they are helpful but flexible, and they are purposeful. And as we go through this list, you're probably thinking, you know, okay, I do okay on number 1 and number 3, I'm not so good on number 2, etc. That's fine. Whichever one resonated with you, get started building that one, but don't neglect the other 4. Because great team players bring all 5 elements to the table. And when they do, they raise their own level of performance, they raise the level of performance on the team. And when you become that great team player, you'll find that not just you, but everybody on your team is able to do their best work ever. Oh, and one more thing. This video really dove down into what makes a great team player, but if you're wondering about what makes for great teamwork and how to unlock higher levels of collaboration on your team, you're gonna wanna check out this video here on the 3 keys to great teamwork.